Hey yo, and welcome back to The Letter. We are still playing as Marion McCulloch. We just finished talking to Luke. He was messing around with the piano. And now we're probably gonna go explore the rest of the mansion. Let's go. It's been a while, so I've lost my accent. All my worries fade away when I step into the ballroom. And, well, the whole place is just grand, isn't it? I can see why the Wrights made sure nobody else would take this place from them. Anyone who has it will certainly be the belle of the ball. It's pretty much one great big status symbol. I should probably say status. I don't think I can do much of a thorough inspection in this room, so I note it down for later. Moving on to the kitchens, I check the ventilations and the general fire safety in the kitchens. This bit is important for a place this size. I would of course suggest bringing an actual fire safety inspector over for a more detailed inspection. Oh, I didn't notice the tree moved over there. It wouldn't do so to see such beautiful architecture go up in flames after all. I take measures of the countertops and cabinets, note down what type of wood they use. They wanted some of these recreated to hide modern appliances. There's a loose floorboard in the farthest corner, and some of the others had scratches, but everything else seems to be in decent shape. My concentration is broken when someone knocks.
You can come in. Door's not locked.
I wait, expecting Miss Wright or the butler to come in, but nobody entered. Instead, there's a knocking again. It's louder and more urgent this time, and I'm pretty sure I didn't lock the thing.
All right. I'm coming. Just hold on.
Alright, it's probably a spooky scary. Hand on keyboard. When I move to open the door though, I realize something. The knocking isn't coming from the door, but somewhere else. The trapdoor. I pause for a second waiting, but the knocking has not ceased. And soon enough it becomes desperate. The dull thuds before switching to what seems to be scratching. Desperate and insistent at once, as if grasping for respite.
Is somebody stuck down there? Jack!
A kitty? Frack. Where did that come from? How did it even get down there? That put the heart crossway in me, it did. I love cats, but they have no business giving people a fright. For a second there, all those ghastly rumours about this place had come flooding back. Now peering into the darkness from the open trapdoor gets me thinking. And it gets me curious. Seriously though, I should really make sure there aren't any more surprises down under. I don't think the Wrights would appreciate it if I find a litter of kittens making a house of a wine cellar. Mr. Wright seems the type to skin a cat if any of his precious wines were to be contaminated. I'm done with the kitchens anyway. Oh, don't go down there, girl. Going down a flight of stairs while wearing high heels is always a bad idea. Descending into the dark underground only makes it worse. But I manage anyhow without any major slip-ups.
These stairs need work, that's for sure.
Surprisingly, the wine cellar is in good condition. No water damage from the last year's flooding, and apart from the dust and cobwebs that accumulated, the place will likely hold for several more years. Racks and barrels line the walls, making the spacious room look smaller than it is. I'm no expert, but it looks good enough for immediate use without any further additions. Bloody whiskey will be having a field day. I think so anyway, until I feel something crunch beneath my feet. Whatever few bottles were left behind here now, nothing but glass under my heels. The cat's fault, I wager. And it made a downright mess with red slick pooling from the remnants of a good drink. There's a lot of stuff for There's a lot of the stuff for to have just been a few bottles, though. A whole trail of it flows at the end of the room, and I follow, fully expecting a leaking barrel or a whole upturned rack. Instead, it just keeps going, and it stops in a large puddle at the very back wall.
What a waste of wine. Why is it so sticky, though? Ugh.
It's not wine. It's thick too, nothing like wine. Of course, it could just be mold.
Maybe it's not wine. Go on, touch it. I dare ya.
Who the feck are you? Despite it all, I find myself answering, because it's her voice. Amy Lorraine. Lovely Amy, pretty Amy. I can imagine her standing there with me, laughing and pestering me as I did my work in the way only friends can. She was my friend, the only one that I had at St. Samthon's. I was a scholar, the charity case in the school for privileged and prestigious young girls. They all looked down on me, if they cared to look at me or acknowledge my presence at all. All except her. Sometimes I wished for the good old days when we were friends. No. She's nothing but a ghost, though I try hard to get over her. I really, really do.
What am I, 5 years old? Oh, damn it, it's stuck under my shoe.
I double dare you. Hell, I double dog dare you. Don't be such a scaredy cat. It's probably wine.
It's blood.
What else could it be? Blood?
It's blood.
Don't be ridiculous. Why would there be blood down here?
If I was the joking sort, I would have said it might be the reason why the previous owners sold the place. Maybe the ghost stories are actually true, and they wanted to get away from the walls that dripped the ectoplasmic goo, and whatever other ghouls haunted about. Doubt it. I hardly believe any of that voodoo nonsense as it is. But as I stare at the mess at my feet, I'm probably looking like a fool. While I'm at it, I notice something strange. It isn't visible unless one is really paying attention, but I can see the red gunk sinking through the cracks in the wall.
What's this then?
Blood. I worry about structural damage and damage to the foundation. I worry about the wine cellar, as the wrong conditions can lend to the deterioration of its contents if temperatures and humidity are not controlled. Up until I see how clean cut the crack is. It runs along the edge of the wall and vertically along it, where a door would be. Pressing my hand against the wall lends credence to the idea as I try to feel where it would give way.
Ooh! Could it be an adventure then? A secret passage? There must be a hidden switch somewhere. Go look! This is the most interesting thing you've done by far.
You got demons, girl. If there's a hidden room here, that would certainly explain the discrepancy in the mansion's floor plans. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to think that there could be hidden rooms and passageways all over the house, if we were to follow that logic. And boy, isn't that exciting. This feels like something straight out of a game. Suddenly, she touches my arm and I flinch away in shock. That shouldn't be possible. I understand auditory hallucinations, maybe even visual hallucinations. But that was...
You look surprised. What's wrong?
You? That's not possible. You're...
dead.
Aren't you happy to see a dear old friend, though? I'm hurt, I am.
What the hell is going on here?
Oh, isn't it obvious? I come back for you.
Ah, are you the lady?
So that we can be together again.
I don't like your face. It's turning blue. When she touches me, once more I recoil. What does she mean together again? She's dead?
No! Leave me alone!
Leave you alone? But I just got here.
Turning around, I met with the Right Butler, who looks at me with an indifferent look. And when I look back, Lorraine is gone.
I wasn't talking to you, just thinking aloud is all.
You should really avoid talking to yourself, Kint. Do more of that and others will think you're insane.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks for the sound advice.
Is that all you're here for, or has your master sent you running down here for something?
Oh, no, I am just down here to admire the place. I've not been inside before. I thought I would look around before we return to the city. The car is already running, you see, and I suggest you go back to the foyer, unless you wish to be left behind. It seems you are in good company already, after all, with this house and your imaginary friend.
Wait, we're leaving already? But I haven't finished inspecting the rest of the house.
Be that as it may, there's a sulking man-child up there who wishes to go home. We are all subject to his whims, lest he throw a tantrum.
I can't help but smile at that. He's a strange guy. I still cannot imagine how he can work for a guy like Luke Wright, though. I imagine the blonde arse ain't an easy guy to get along with. Whatever the butler has to tolerate that, I want 10 of it.
And we wouldn't want any soiled knickers or spilled milk. Why don't you go head on and I'll be right there.
Very well. Do be careful on your way back. I saw some broken glass on the way and it would not do to cut yourself on them.
I will, yeah. Just tell Mr. Wright not to blow a gasket or anything. I'll be just a minute.
Speaking of blowing gaskets, there's something else dangerous here. Whatever's behind the door, it could pose some problems. Best case scenario, it only ruin good stocks of wine. But who knows what's behind that false wall? I'll have to come back to it. It's already dark as we make our way out the mansion. With no lights, we're only illuminated by the headlamps of the Wright's car, stars above us, and the stars above us. The sight of them helps me compose myself much more than several minutes of being alone did. The car's engine is running, yet the two still stand out on the lawn. Miss Wright is busy, eyes up to the stars. And Mr. Wright, arms crossed, has his eyes down on the ground. It's the crunch of the grass under my heels that brings their attention to me.
About time. What took you so long? A minute longer and I'd think the house swallowed you all up.
Oh, hush, dear. I'm sure she has her reasons. Marianne doesn't seem the sort to idle.
Sorry, I was just checking on something important.
See, business is business and they take time, love. You should know that better than anyone. So, Marianne, what do you think? Are you the woman for the job? I know we already signed papers hiring you, but I want to be 100% sure that you are committed.
I glanced back towards the mansion, knowing what I had seen there. That curious thing in the wine cellar, which is stuff I'd only read about from the fucking horror stories. And her. I should feel the slightest bit hesitant. I was lucky. I've seen enough films to know what happens when a promiscuous woman enters a haunted house. This is my chance to turn it down. Make excuses, say that I'm not up to the task, that I need to take care of my old sick father. Just pay the fine, which is probably outrageous for a contract like this, and let it go. I should turn it down, but for some obstinate reason I can't. In the same manner, I haven't let go of her, of the regret that has shadowed me since that day. Much as I hate to admit it, even to myself, seeing her again, the mischievous glint in her eyes, the loose tendrils of her hair curled around her forehead. It's something I've terribly missed, and now that it's here, almost within arm's reach, my father would tell me sometimes you just simply have to go with it. Consequences be damned. And, well, I really don't have any logical reason to say no. At least not something a client like the Wrights would want to hear from a professional designer.
It's certainly an interesting project. You can be sure I'm seeing it through the end.
Such dedication! Oh, I do love the determination.
You were always determined like that, weren't you?
Hearing her voice once again sends chills running through my back. I can't wait for this day to be over. From the mansion and through Anselm, I rode with them in silence. But as soon as we hit the city proper, I asked to be dropped off and bid them good night. I thought it best if I didn't stay too long in the confined space with either Mrs. or Mr. Wright. Those seemed to cause me serious trouble, and if the project had been any less interesting or grand, I would have dropped it without a second thought. Would have, shouldn't have, won't. I assure them that my place isn't far off, and I have to fight off the urge to roll my eyes and groan when whiskey throws me a little smirk. But even in my own home, peace is elusive as is sleep. I lie awake thinking of what I saw in that mansion. Of who I saw. If I so much as hear a single whisper from her. If I so much as see a wisp of her hair. I'm afraid I'll go mad. But none of that happens. And it makes me feel hollow. For 2 nights I have trouble sleeping, but it's only one morning when fatigue has already let me rest and I'm reminded of what terrifies me so. In my restless dreams I see that mirror, the one in the study, and in it I see her. I see them. Lorraine and Hannah. They look the same? Hannah and Lorraine.
Poor pathetic Marianne. Work, work, work.
Oh?
She'll work herself to death.
See? She doesn't listen. That's all she did.
Well, this is creepy.
Look at what happened to me.
They talk amongst themselves with cruel smiles and venomous tongues. Or rather, to themselves. 2 heads, 1 body. A horrible mockery of these women, as if they were the one and the same.
More's the pity. Life goes on and goes out, and she doesn't even see it.
Do you think she'll even realize when she's kicked the bucket herself?
When they say a person has a hard time telling when they're in a dream, it's true often enough. Even with bizarre sides, even with the obvious implications that this isn't real, I can't help but feel distress.
Likely. Is that any way to live at all? She might as well be dead.
Cruel fate that she's alive and I'm... well...
Oof. Though they speak into each other's ear, tones low and hushed, I can still hear them. Oh, that went southern. I can still hear them. Clear as day. Their whispers pervade the air, heavy and oppressive. They bury and dig into my head like tiny maggots, worming their way into my skull. It is only then that they take notice of my presence. Eyes turn toward me and I can only feel small under their scrutiny. Caricature smiles etched on their faces, mimicking each other grotesquely.
Oh, Marianne! How long have you been standing there, dearie?
Come join us, Marianne. We won't bite. Unless you ask, that is.
Have you been looking at us? Spying? How scandalous. Such a naughty gal.
I'm sure you were just waiting for something lewd to happen, weren't you?
I don't think this is her kink.
You know she will not admit it. She thinks it wrong. You've said it so yourself.
Yes. She thought me wrong, impure, abnormal, because I loved her.
Oh. My breath hitches and I open my mouth to protest, but they stop me screeching. The mirror that holds them cracks, lines spidering across the surface.
Do not lie. We know the gluttonous thoughts you try to deny, girl. All those desires you bury beneath that sickening guilt. You act the martyr when you turn the bed you lie in into your own hedonistic hell. You are nothing but a tainted soul with filth-stained flesh held together by falsehood and pride.
So, like, I'm trying to figure out if she only feels guilty for, like, Lorraine's death, or if it's like a guilt of that plus, like, hiding, I guess her sexuality of either being gay or bi or something like that, because I think the school she went to was like a religious one. They look livid, and when it looks like they would lunge, I wake, feeling like the wind had been knocked out of me. With a groan, I squint and find a certain fluff ball sitting on my chest, looking as pleased as Punch. She's the overlady of the cats, queen of despair and destruction of nice furniture. Though I can't stay mad at Her Majesty because it feels like she did something good this time. I was having a nightmare, but I can't even remember what it was about. Trying to recall leaves a terrible pit in my stomach. Maybe it's probably better that I don't remember.
Good morning, Baruthiel. Who's the good kitty? Are you hungry? Is that why you woke me up?
Her content purrs comes from my sweet dear before she jumps off the bed and trots toward the kitchen. On the other hand, it takes me a bit more before I roll out bed and start my day. Mornings before work is always a quiet affair. Shower first, then a mug of coffee and a bowl of oats. Sometimes I do stretches, and I always check my work email. The Wrights will be moving in to the mansion today. I don't think the paperwork is officially done yet, but it isn't too far-fetched to think they were allowed to start their move despite that. Rich people like them always find ways to get what they want after all.
I'll be leaving you again today, Beth. So you behave and make sure not to shred up my new covers, okay?
Do it.
And don't worry, I didn't forget tomorrow is Black Cat Day, so I'll throw you a party.
Aw, little kitty cat party.
But only if you behave like a proper lady.
She barely gives me a glance as I say that before going back to her own food. Cats. Still better than humans most of the time. Too bad I have to work with humans. The place is already busy as soon as I get here. The foreman, one that I recommended to the Wrights for his work ethic, is early as usual. Already, he's instructing men here and there with their bigger loads. I have no chance to talk with him as Miss Wright appears and greets me with a smile.
Mrs. Wright, I hope everything has been to your liking thus far.
Good morning, Marianne. It has been delightful, and these men have been very helpful. Look at all this. It's so busy here. I'm getting tired just looking at them go.
No complications so far with the movers or the previous owners of the mansion, I hope?
If anything, the only one being problematic is Luke, if I'm to be honest.
Of course.
He can be such a diva, but I do like that about him.
Why? He stops looking up at the upper landing where Mr. Wright's comes from. Oh, she. With two other movers and the mirror from the study.
Oh, do be careful with that mirror. We wouldn't want anyone getting hurt because of broken glass. Why are you even having it carried around?
Oh? You did say you didn't want the mirror, and I keep getting distracted by it. If I'm going to turn the study into my office, I'd rather not have it there. Where can we put this?
Well, you are not putting it in our room. Why don't you go, I don't know, put it in the wine cellar for now? We can figure out if we'll store it in the attic or somewhere else later, yes?
You heard her, boys. To the cellar it goes. Mush!
Don't use the word mush. The movers bring down the mirror one step at a time, no matter how much the man tells him to hurry. An unsettling feeling grows in my stomach as I see our reflection in the bloody thing. That's the mirror from my dream. As soon as they go into the kitchen, I realize I'm holding my breath. I let out a sigh of relief when I think nobody's looking, and I go back to the task at hand. It'll be a terribly busy day, and there's no need for me to even think of anything else. I'll talk with the foreman. I'll fill him in which room is which. It seems I'm doomed to not get any significant work done without being interrupted when it comes to these particular clients, however.
Marianne, dear, have you had breakfast yet? Well, I do believe it would be considered brunch at this hour.
Oh, yes, Mrs. Wright.
You must join me. Johans has already been breaking in the kitchen, as they say. I do not see the others settling down for a meal anytime soon. Someone might as well enjoy the food while it's hot. And that someone might as well be us.
I should say no, I really must say no. But the way she smiles at me makes it difficult to do so. Look at how ridiculous I am being, acting like a silly nervous girl with a crush. It's just brunch. Who am I to say no to a client? It would be impolite to do so. It's not like I'm going to agree because of anything other than propriety. I'm not agreeing just because she batted her pretty eyelashes at me.
If you insist.
It really isn't any of those. But it's something about her eyes, rather. She looks like she needs a good talk. A friend. And although I'm not supposed to be chummy with my client, there's no harm in pretending, right? Ah, this was the talk from the other chapter. Of course, I've been wrong on many occasions before. There is plenty harm in pretending that I care. Because in pretending that I care, I might actually lead to actually caring. Being alone in the same room as the missus leaves me reeling as I find myself paying too much attention to her. It seems so borderline unhealthy. How much am I getting obsessed even if it's just by looking? And it's the little insignificant things that I notice, like the way she plays with her hair, how she smooths down her dress.
Up, higher, come on now.
Whiskey's annoying voice in the other room helps pull me back to the ground. I'm just looking, aren't I? I know that someone like her wouldn't even look at someone like me. Still, there are some time to turn around this bad decision.
I'd really like to thank you for inviting me to breakfast, Mrs. Wright. But I already ate, so I should really go back to work.
Nonsense! You arrived so early, you must not have gotten a proper meal. Sit, sit! I'd situate us in the dining hall, but it is a mess right now.
Her concern is sweet, as is her smile. But I'm really not here for idle chit-chat, something I keep forgetting. We're both distracted when the food arrives, and it's enough for me to stay, at least until the meal is over. No more, no less, just to be polite. Thankfully, the conversation steers into a topic I'm comfortable with. Work. This goes on for a bit, and I can't be more relieved. Most people don't understand calling me a workaholic, but I choose to work in a field I'm enthusiastic about. So, what if my career is also my hobby?
But no, really, how have you liked it so far?
Oh, it has been wonderful, believe me. Everything is going smoothly too. It has been a long time since I've worked on something on this grand a scale. Nowadays, everyone is about condos and flats, living in the city where every room is an identical box. Believe me, this is very refreshing.
We lived in a condo before this, Marianne.
I didn't mean any insult.
It's fine, sweetie. Look at you, all frazzled. I was just pulling your leg. Luke wanted that penthouse when we got married, and you can thank him for purchasing this place as well.
Wait, doesn't she own the house? I'm pretty sure. I have no business with it though. It's theirs to hash out. But apparently the momentary confusion had been visible on my face.
Don't be fooled. I'm just the treasury. I wouldn't be able to make a purchase this grand without his seal of approval.
I see.
That's it. That's all you have to say.
Yes. What else is there to it? Without warning, the nice friendly chat evolved into something horrible. Something sad.
But I really don't know what to say, Mrs. Wright. We were talking of no topic in particular, and...
Luke. We were talking about Luke.
About him not eating breakfast with you?
About him treating me as if I were some treasury.
Despite my general dislike of the upper class, I sometimes feel pity for them. They may have all their money in the world, where material things aren't a problem, but they don't even see what they've become. Where they've ended up, or what they've done most of the time. They're shut in by their own trap, forced to play along with society's expectations, and do anything to stay where they are and to keep what they have. A world where even people feel or are treated like they're mere possessions. When someone is at the top, the only way for them to go is down. I've worked with many Hannahs and Lukes and Whiskies, but I've never been one of them. I don't pretend to understand their world any deeper than that. I merely know what I've witnessed before. She looks lost, speechless at how she betrayed herself. My pity for the likes of her returns. Nothing but pity moves me as I speak before she can say anything else that might ruin or break her.
I won't speak a word, Mrs. Wright. Not only am I contractually obliged to, it would also go against my principles. This is no one else's business but your own, and it should be kept between the two of you. And whoever you wish to seek counsel from.
Please, Marianne. You have to understand. These sort of affairs, if anyone were to know this, they could just twist it and we'll be ruined. All I ask for is your silence on the matter.
The way she practically begs me to keep quiet about it is disheartening. I have no plans of speaking about anything I hear, especially if it is about their private affairs. But the way she looks at me, the way she just expects some sort of fallout because of this, makes my heart clench.
Well, I'm keeping that information confidential as well.
It's not like I have any other choice, do I?
Thank you.
When the last of the food and drink is gone, the door opens as if on cue.
Madam, the photographer from Luxury Living is here.
Ah, Zach.
This was a wonderful meal, Marianne. You're free to return to your duties. I must excuse myself.
It was my pleasure. And thank you for the food as well.
She stands up to leave, and all I want to do is to reassure her again, to prove that I am someone she can trust. So when she looks back my way, I didn't fight the smile that found its way on my face. I feel giddy, but the feeling dies down afterward as I sober up. Oh well, back to work. Soon enough, I find myself drawn to the kitchen where the Right Butler had returned to. He's already claimed the space and telling movers to back off, and no one dares question his proclamation either.
My kitchen. No kinder allowed. Little men running around with knives especially. We do not want any accidents to happen now, do we? Good? Good.
He's so cute. I mean, it is a knife-wielding German standing there. I don't think anybody would be insane enough to refuse his request.
I hope I meet the age restriction, or at least the height restriction, because I'm asking to be let in here.
You are allowed inside, McCulloch, but not the little ones.
You're so cute. I shake on my head and I roll my eyes as it is all I give him. It's not like I'm going to be of any trouble to him. I just need to look around, get my bearings. And breakfast had been a distraction enough. I don't even want to think about what we just talked about. I just need to get my head straight and get back to work. The movers work efficiently even when they're left alone, and they do quick work of their responsibilities. The head foreman comes standing in the doorway to consult me on this or that, and I have to go help out every now and then. But they pretty much have everything up to standards. They skip lunch entirely, not even realizing when they do so. Nevertheless, all is well as the butler gets to heating up leftover bubble and squeak from breakfast and makes a generous batch of fish and chips for them. Most likely in simple comparison to what he served to the Wrights, but well done nevertheless.
That smells good. Want to wrap up some for me to go?
It's an idle observation more than anything. My thoughts, as they are, preoccupy me.
If there are any left. One can't go wrong with fish and chips. Everyone loves them. Even my husband. And he's American.
When does he ever see his husband? I really do hate getting up so close and personal with my clients. It's a distraction. It is obvious to me that I've gotten my priorities all wrong when I can't help but think about what I heard and what I learned about the right couple. These things have a way of creeping up on a person. Thoughts, ideas, whether they are fact or fiction. They creep up and fester, crawl and writhe in ways that twists. I hear giggling, delighted, and mocking. They creep up, and the sensation of fingers ghosting briefly on my arm caused me to freeze and hiss.
Don't!
I half expect her to be there.
Whoa, no need to scream bloody murder!
You. Oh, well, with that little man standing there, I have to end the episode because I am past time. I try to keep these not too long so that they're digestible. But this has been interesting. Marianne is a very interesting character. She has a lot going on in her past. And I'm really, really curious about this Lorraine lady and where this conversation's gonna go. But we'll have to save that for next time. But this time, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to hit the thumbs up if you're new to the channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell so you know when I post, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye!